Hello everyone and welcome to part 3, the final part of my B&M 2019 mega review, and today we're going to be looking at what I know many of you have been waiting for, the TARDIS sets. But just before we get on to the review, I would just like to make a short statement, both for my benefit and for yours, regarding some commonly raised points which I know will come up in the comments section, and addressing them now means that I won't then have to constantly answer them again and again in the comments section. Firstly, this is not a paid advertisement. I have been given these by Character Options and their PR company for the purposes of an advanced review. Obviously, I have been a bit scathing in the past of my reviews of CO's merchandise, and as I have been given these, I'm perhaps not going to critique them as harshly as I would if I'd had to pay for them. But that doesn't mean I'm here to sell you these products, and I have been asked to review these as fairly as I would with any other products. And whilst my initial impressions of these are very good, there are one or two issues which I will be raising in the course of doing these reviews. Secondly, and obviously people are going to be asking me where and how I managed to get these. As I said, they have been given to me by Character Options and their PR company for the purposes of advanced review. As such, these are not for sale, nor are they for giveaway. It is also worth noting that I have been very lucky in getting this opportunity, so I would just like to say, those of you considering contacting Character Options or their PR company just to get free or advanced stuff, please remember that it is entirely down to them to decide who they give their products to, and they have given these to me on the basis that I am actually reviewing them. Thirdly, whilst I have been given these products to review, I would just like to state that I am not formally nor professionally connected with Character Options or their PR company or any associated companies. I do not possess any inside information or knowledge of future products, and anything said in these videos are purely my own thoughts and ideas and should not be taken as any indications of the company's future business. Lastly, on a personal note, I would just like to say, please don't comment or send me messages asking me how you can get advanced products, or if I can get advanced products to send to you, or if you can have anything seen in these videos, because the answer is I'm sorry, but no. And that applies to everyone, so please don't think that you are an exception to that and ask anyway. I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but this is a great opportunity that has been given to me by Character Options and their PR company, and I'm really not willing to do anything to jeopardize that in future. But now we've got all that out of the way, let's get on to the actual review. So here we have the Fourth Doctor from Shada along with his TARDIS. They both look very good. Obviously the TARDIS has got some brand new bits, so we're going to get into that. The boxes, this is the same box, I believe, as the same sort of style box as the Third Doctor. Obviously it's all been updated and redone. We've got some very nice detailing on the side with pictures, and then obviously on the back we've got pictures, same pictures, a bit more information, but this is quite an interesting read because this obviously tells you all about Shada, all of the problems that it had from about, you know, making the story, and then obviously information about the story itself, and obviously we've got the nice open bit on the side. But let's get into this and see what we've got inside. So here is the Fourth Doctor and Shada TARDIS. Now I'm just going to very quickly show you the interior box, which is very nice. We've got Professor Chronotis's study from Shada. A nice little Easter egg at the bottom, which some people question on the box. There is in fact down here a tiny little moment, Doctor Who moment, and there's also I think a couple of other bits, because there's a robot head here as well, and it looks like there's an ink pot or something on the shelf, so there's lots of nice little references, kind of like they had on the Third Doctor set. But obviously, looking at the TARDIS and the Doctor, we're going to start off by looking at the Doctor. It's a very nice looking figure. Obviously it's a standard Fourth Doctor figure, really. It's a repaint of the sort of City of Death versions. The scarf does stick out a little bit, which is a little bit odd, but I know I've had that on some of my other ones as well. The other thing as well, which I think they've missed a little bit of a trick with, again I can understand why they've done it, and I think perhaps this is another thing I want to raise as fans perhaps asking maybe a little bit too much, but those of you who may know, the shirt sculpt for this Fourth Doctor actually does have a waistcoat on it, and that's not been painted. I'm sure some people will go, well, they could have painted the waistcoat because he wears one open in Shada, but ultimately at the end of the day, you know, it still looks the part, it still looks very nice. The scarf detailing has come out very nicely as well, and then obviously the TARDIS itself, we've got the brand new sort of rotating lamp on the top of the police box, which is very nice. Doors open as well. We've got nothing inside, but it's got obviously the red windows as well, which is a nice interesting look. And then obviously on the base, of course, we've also got the brand new flatter base. Obviously this doesn't have any electronics inside it, which again, I know some people have, I know to some people saying like, oh, it's a shame these aren't electronic TARDISes, but here's the thing. The whole reason of having the bigger base in the first place was to accommodate electronic stuff in there. So it's really a choice between, do you want them to have electronics or do you want them to have a flatter base, because you can't necessarily have both. But I think this is just me, and this is a bit of a strange thing, but I'm sort of looking at this base, and maybe it's because we've had the bigger base for so long. I actually find that this flatter base looks odd. But I think that is just me, because we've had the shorter bit, you know, we've had the bigger base for so long. Having the short base just looks very strange. But ultimately, the more I look at it, the more I think it's the flatter base that so many people have finally wanted, and so finally for them to get it, I think is absolutely brilliant. This is definitely one that I think is gonna jump out at fans. Certainly is gonna jump out off the shelves. I think probably of the two, I think this is probably not going to be quite as successful as the Fifth Doctor one, because I know a lot of people who are waiting for the Fifth Doctor TARDIS, and the Shadow TARDIS is a bit of a strange one. But I think because you've got this interesting lamp on the top and you've got the flatter base on there, I think this is again going to be another one of those sets. I think people are going to buy this to make customs from. I don't think this is going to be one that they would necessarily kill. They might keep it, but I think this is one that people would probably buy two of them, one to keep, one to make customs. But it's certainly an interesting set to have, and it certainly looks very good. It's got very nice detailing, very nice weathering. The Doctor figure is a nice variant to have as well. So yeah, there's not really anything. There's not a huge amount to say about this set, but at the same time, there's nothing there's nothing really bad to say about it either, which is it's always nice when you're reviewing things to have, not necessarily a huge amount of pros, but to not have any cons is always a nice thing. So here is the Fifth Doctor and TARDIS from the Caves of Androzani. Fantastic to finally see a Fifth Doctor TARDIS release, because obviously, as many of you will know, these prototypes have been going around for years. I've got one of the original prototypes. I got one recently, and so many people have been waiting to see them and wanting to see them, so to finally see this is brilliant. Obviously we've got a Fifth Doctor in his slightly muddy appearance, so we've got the TARDIS with some mud on it as well. Information on the side, and then on the back, information about the story in the side here. And let's get into this and have a look. And yes, there is something very interesting I've got to say about this set. So here we have the Fifth Doctor and TARDIS, and again, just look at the backdrop. We've got a very nice Caves of Androzani backdrop with all the mud and everything like that, and it looks very nice insert to have on the back. But moving back to the figures and the TARDIS themselves, the figure is very nice, but there is one thing about this which is really bugging me, and I'm going to get onto that in a minute, but we're first of all going to look at the actual sort of detailing on it. The mud detailing looks very nice, really comes up well. He's got a nice sort of mud on the trousers as well. There's no blood on the head or the hand, which I know some people were hoping for, but obviously he's got that mud on the back, and the coat's also been repainted a slightly darker colour as well. The trousers, obviously, now this is the thing that people are probably going to think this is my issue, but it's not. The trousers are the wrong trousers, Gromit, as Wallace would say. But the thing is, Al Dewar has said on Gallifrey Base, he held his hands up and said it was a production error that was too late to stop, and so that's happened. And fair enough, I can, they are the wrong trousers, but there is a reason why they're wrong. It happened, but ultimately they actually don't look that wrong, because they are the wrong trousers. These are sort of the Awakening trousers, but if we had ended up having the very early Fifth Doctor trousers, which were more cream and gold and things like that, they would have looked extremely wrong. So having this doesn't look that bad, and the actual patterning on this is quite good for customizers as well, because the lines actually represent where the lines would be. So if you repainted the light orange bits sort of pinkish dark red, and then the dark orange bits you painted cream and then with a black line, or black with a cream line, I can't remember which way around, but then you did that, you would actually be able to repaint these trousers into the colour scheme they would. So yes, they're the wrong trousers, but they're actually the wrong trousers with a good plus side to them, in that they will be not too difficult for fans to repaint if they want them correct. But the trousers do look very good. Here's the problem. This on his jumper. Now, I said, I've been given these, so I'm not going to critique them that harshly, as I've been paying for them. But the thing is, when you look at the original Sixth Doctor, regenerated 6th Doctor. He's got a very nice mud splash, and his coat is sort of very dirty, and his jumper's also messy as well, and things like that, and it looks very good. It looks like he's actually muddy, and the coat detailing here is very muddy, very good looking. And then I can't help but look at this, and it just looks like the 5th Doctor's fallen face first into a puddle of oil. And I think it's a real shame, because to me it's so glaringly obvious that it doesn't match up with the rest of it. It just really does stand out. And I think if they ever do re-release variants of this, all I would suggest is just make this colour, just make it brown rather than this sort of black wash that they've used. Just make it brown, because it really does just sort of stand out. And if it wasn't for that, if it was not for that one thing, and I genuinely mean this, if it was not for that one thing, I would not have anything bad to say about this figure. Even with the wrong trousers, that doesn't bother me. I would not have anything bad to say about this if it wasn't just for this one little thing. It's the one thing that I think has not even let it down, but it's the one thing that I think really does sort of not look right about this. But that's the figure. Moving on to the TARDIS. Obviously, it's a very nice looking TARDIS. It's got the nice new original bigger roof compared to all of the squat flat ones that we've had before. It's got the nice new windows, nicely detailed all around with some weathering. And then obviously the base is the new flatter base as well. Obviously the door's open. There's no phone or anything like that inside, but obviously the base opens with a flatter base. So no electronics or anything like that. But as I said, we've got the flatter base and some nice detailing. I think the mud detailing is an interesting choice on the base. It fits, because there would be mud on the base, but I get the feeling that I think that is going to be something which most fans are probably going to try and repaint over, because it does stand out quite a lot that it's a muddy base, and I think fans would probably much rather have had a cleaner base. But ultimately, as I said, for the set, it fits, and it's not actually going to be that difficult for most fans just to repaint that, so I don't think it's going to be a huge thing. But it is just, as I said, I want to critique these fairly, so I think it is worth pointing out that I think some fans are going to go, I would have preferred it without the muddy base, but that's that's just the way it goes. You can't please everyone, and that is just the way that I think things are going to go. But overall, it's a 5th Doctor TARDIS. We've waited so many years to get a 5th Doctor TARDIS, and not only have we got a 5th Doctor TARDIS, we've got a 5th Doctor TARDIS with a brand new base. So I really think that if you're concentrating too much on the details, like the dirt on the base and the smudge on the jumper, I think you're missing what we've finally gotten hold of, which is something so amazingly spectacular and brilliant that I think that it's not worth dwelling on the small things when we've got some absolutely fantastic pieces of brand new merchandising. But that brings to a close the end of part 3 of my B&M 2019 Mega Review. We have seen some fantastic merchandise here, and I would thoroughly recommend going out and getting it when it arrives in stores. And I would just like to say a huge thank you to Character Options and Evolution PR for giving me this amazing opportunity to review this stuff in advance. So, as always, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. And be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. I'm doing my very first figure animation, and you can get involved. There's exclusive content and rewards for those who do so, and funding my Patreon in any way gets your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.